Okay, we're going to start this morning off by tying my beadhead version of my golden stone. This is the D-rib beadhead golden stone. We're using a hook from Montana Fly called a number 7073. It's a 3x long bent shank. I've got a lucent tungsten bead up at in the coffee color. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by covering our hook with the flat lead tape. We're going to lay down a good layer, and then at the thorax we're just going to come back and we're going to double this up. Okay, we get that doubled up, clip off the end, so there's basically what you're looking at. Now we're going to start out, we're going to lay down a base of thread. Lay down a base of thread on we want to cover the lead pretty good before we flatten it. I have found it a little easier to flatten the lead with a layer of thread on it. What it helps prevent is the lead rotating on the hook. So we're going to give a good layer of thread down on the lead. Okay, come in with our pliers, and we're just going to and you can see there, now we got a nicely flattened lead body, underbody. So what I'm going to do is come back in, I'm going to flatten my thread out a little bit because it'll help cover everything up a little better. And I just want to lay down and make sure I have just cover the lead up the best I can. I'm not too worried about it up on the thorax region. Okay, we're going to get our thread back to our tail point. We're going to grab 2 gold goose biots. I tie them in separately, one at a time. I'm just going to get my length where I want it. I want them about a half a shank length long. So we're going to bind that one down. And then we're going to go to the other side, making sure they're the same length. Come back and we're going to bind those down. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do here is clip the ends up. Now I'm going to run my thread back up to right up to about the little past halfway. Now we're going to take our D-rib, which is a light golden stone. We're going to tie that in, and I'm going to tie that in the D. It's going to be facing the hook. There's a flat point. There's a flat side and a D side. I want the D side facing me, the tire. And then the D goes up to the lead body. So I'm going to run that all the way to the back. Straighten my tails out. Now I'm going to build a little taper into this. Try to flatten my thread out here. And then, like I said, I'm just going to come in and build this little taper up. Okay, so what we got there is a nicely flattened oval shape. Now we're going to come in with the markers. The first marker is going to be this marigold by Sharpie, and all I'm going to do is just hit I want the top half of it. So what you can see there is we got the top and then the underneath. Just a little bleeding, but I want the majority of the color up on top. And then I'm going to take the brown Sharpie, and I'm just going to see if I can keep my hand out of the way. And all I'm going to do is model that up to give it a mottled effect. Okay. Now I'm going to take the D-rib. Now this stuff has got a good stretch. If you buy this stuff by hairline, it's got a really good stretch to it. So I want to start out by getting a good stretch on it. And then as we're going to wind it forward, I'm going to help taper this body by letting off on the D-rib. Okay, we're at our tie-off point. I'm going to take a couple wraps. Okay, come in here and we'll clip our D-rib. Get that out of the way. Okay, and now what you're going to see, I'm going to go ahead and bind everything down. I'll show you the top. There's the top, and there's the bottom. What you're going to see is the definite two-tone effect. Next, we're going to take in our wing case material, which is a Rainey's product called Golden Stone Stretch Flex. And what I'm going to do is tie this in right on top. I'm going to put a little stretch in it, and then I want to get it centered. We're going to get it centered there. And then what we're going to do is the dubbing on the thorax is a mixture of two dubbings. I use a Renee Harrop tannish yellow dubbing and a light UV yellow iced up. So we're going to come in, dub up the. Now we're going to do this in two sections. Okay, so we got the dubbing. Didn't quite like that one. There we go. So there's our first little section, and then we're going to take our first set of legs, and these are just some partridge feathers. I'm going to strip all the fluff off. And we're going to cut them into a V. We're going to come in on each side, put them in there. And what I want to do is just a little past the ball. Okay, so you can see the legs on each side. Now this is a little different. I've gone to coloring this little ball of dubbing on top here, because the marker on the stretch flex wears off over time. So I'm going to do the same thing as I would on the stretch flex, but I'm going to do it on the dubbing ball. Pull this over. Bind that down right in front of the, come in there and flatten it out a little bit, and then we'll fold back the stretch flex, and then we're going to take a little bit more dubbing, and the proportions on this fly are basically 50% of the hook is the abdomen, the front 50 is the thorax, and then on the front sections I basically break it in, I break those two into the front 50 into 50-50 for the two little sections. So we're going to dub it up. our next set of legs. So we got our next set. Going to do the same thing with the front set. Just past the ball. A couple good wraps to hold them into place. We're going to come in and clip them off. So now we have two sets of legs. And we'll take the marker again. Darken that dubbing up a little bit. Do the same thing with the brown. Pull our wing case over. Okay, bind that down. I'm going to come in, clip that with the stretch plug. And then what I like to do is right there behind the bead, I'll come in with just a little bit of dubbing. We'll put a little bit of dubbing there. Pull my legs out of the way. Yeah, about right. Yeah, not quite. Didn't like that. Okay, and then I'm going to come in and do a quick whip finish. Tighten that up, and then we'll just clip our thread. And now what I like to do here is just to make it all consistent on the color, is I'll just on the top section here, we'll darken that. And I might just hit the wing cases a little bit so we can really get the effect. So there's the top, there's our bottom. You can just see do a little adjustment here, and there we go. It's ready for our fly box.